Tom Brady not at practice still, and this has become a massive conversation amongst some parties in some circles, including Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has commented about the Tom Brady situation. Now, he did tell TMZ just about a week ago on a strip somewhere that he's still open. He misses Tom Brady, loves Tom Brady. Then he put a tweet out basically saying Tom Brady finesses the system, misses 14 days, get his mind right, LOL. Here we go. Tom Brady manipulate the game, gets 14 days, go home, get his mind right, LOL. Now you see the difference. Put that shit on. Put that shit on.
I mean, it's growing on me.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's growing on everybody. By the way, you're about to see it. A lot of it.
I already have. Already seen it a few times.
The kids, too? Kids in your Ohio?
Not as much kids. I've been trying to teach my kids that, but they haven't seen much of AB's rap album.
Well, tell your kids Hendrix to put that shit on, and maybe they'll be able to learn that and kind of get through it all. But Antonio Brown talking about the situation, right, with Tom Brady. And I don't think it's yet been described what Tom Brady's doing, so now it's conspiracy fodder everywhere. Rappaport came on the show, and while we were talking to him live, this was something that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had known about going in. Who knows how many people in the building knew about it, but at least Todd Bowles knew about it, and probably other people in powerful positions. They said he'd be back in like 9 days. Now it's like we don't know when he'll be back. We think he'll be back for the first regular season game, pretty sure of that. So what is something that has a beginning date that was planned but doesn't have an end date? We thought when he retired for those few days, he and Giselle and his family maybe scheduled something, a party, an event that they have missed for the last 50 years while he was playing in the NFL. And then once he decided to go back, Giselle and the family were like, Dad, what the fuck? Like another one. And he was like, well, I will make it a demand that if I do come back, I have to be able to go do this thing with my family in the middle of training camp. And the people that were in power said, hey, all good. You got to do what you got to do. We understand completely. We're in the football life as well. But now that there's no end date, that is interesting. And the internet, both on Reddit and Fantasy Life podcast, a lady, I believe, I do not remember her name, so I apologize. He's on a Masked Singer, they're saying. This dude, he signed that deal with Fox to be a game ambassador and a commentator, and he's getting $375 million over 10 years whenever he retires. Greg Olson, Kevin Burkhardt currently manning that spot. Tom Brady will be dropped in there when he retires. And the reason why there's no end date and they don't know when he'll be back, because who knows when Tom Brady's going to get voted off. He's going to have a goat head on him, obviously. He's going to do his whole thing. We'll see that. There's no way that Fox says, hey, remember, you told us you'd be on Masked Singer. You got missed training camp, with Fox hiring him to be an NFL ambassador, right? So I don't know if it's the Masked Singer, but this is gaining steam on the internet, and it makes sense that there's no end date. With that being said, Fox has literally survived off the NFL. So I would love to hear the conversation between Fox and Tom Brady going, we're paying you $375 million at some point, right? You need to do the Masked Singer in the middle of fucking training camp.
Come on.
That's what would have had to happen, right? For that to take place. That seems like not possible, but maybe. AJ, where the fuck is this guy, you think?
Aren't like all the internet sleuths out there trying to track his plane or what he may be doing? I would imagine they're on him somewhere, right?
Go ahead, Connor.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like when he was on vacation with his family in Italy on a yacht, there were still photos of him on that yacht that the press got in Italy. So if he was on vacation with Giselle, with the family, you'd assume there'd be like a shit ton of press either spotting him or knowing that this is where he is, and that would have came out. Like
weird things leading up to it too, though. When they lay out the timeline, he scheduled off day, then they practiced, then he missed one and was back and then gone. Like there was a weird. I read something where they laid out like the 5 days before he left too.
What has a beginning date but not an end date?
Court.
I don't know how many people knew.
That's just something. I'm just not that he's there. I'm just saying that is something.
No, but what would it be? Honestly.
Are people worried it's some kind of injury thing or some kind of treatment he's getting?
Illness. Maybe it's a surgery that's taking place.
Why wouldn't you have to disclose it on the injury report eventually?
So Peyton, for instance, Peyton's neck shit, we did not know until.
Wasn't he over in Germany or whatever getting Regenikine or all that?
Yeah, you got to remember, there was a time, not a baby Mitt, just cutting right to the talks table to get a good reaction mid-sentence there. I love you, Mitt. This guy's awesome. But remember, I think I've told this story publicly. Mitt, you're doing a great job. I've told this story publicly that I was, summoned to the training room almost in training camp, and I get in there, and fucking Peyton's got all these wires coming out of him, and they're working on him. I'm like, well, I apparently did not train hard enough for the amount of times we're going to punt this season, it appears. And it kind of got dropped out of nowhere. Then we ended up signing Kerry Collins in the middle of training camp. I believe he was actually hunting at the time they called him to bring him out of the farm to come play again, and Curtis Painter and Orlovsky. So this is potentially, maybe it's an injury, maybe it's a surgery that they just didn't want to let everybody know. But then why is he coming back from retirement?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
None of it makes sense to me. Honestly,
This
none
is
of
speculation, though. When we don't have any information, it's such a unique thing, and feels like not a whole lot of people were in the know. That's when everyone just wild speculation, just like alien stuff, same kind of thing. You see the moon, you say this has got to be a UFO.
I am not tying Tom Brady's situation in the middle of training camp with aliens.
Yeah, could see him going back to a planet to save his civilization, though, if that might be the case. That does have a start date, not an end date.
All right, so I appreciate the fact that we have got to this point with this. But yeah, to add on to what you were saying, all these conversations happen because this has never really happened before.
No.
There is no real intel or insight. And the way Todd Bowles is talking about, like, we're hopeful he'll be back by week 1. It's like,
That's the weird thing.
Nobody knows anything.
What?
And it's Tom fucking Brady. Like, it's not just some guy. It's the face
How
of
does
the
he
league for the last
disappear?
20 years.
How does he? That's what I'm saying. I land in the middle of bumfuck nowhere at 2:30 a.m. There will be 6 people. I won't call them.
Marks.
No.
Oh.
Sacks
Worse than
of
that.
shit.
Yes. Out there with garbage bags waiting on me, right? And obviously, me and Tom Brady, much different levels of society and life, but everything is tracked these days. Literally everything. So are they just locking themselves in a house and going through some stuff and turning all their phones off? And like, hey, we're going to have Amish month. Is that what they're doing?
What about like Survive Alaska, where you win the award for how long you can survive in the wilderness by yourself?
Yeah, but he would have had to take a flight at some time to Alaska, and somebody would have been like, oh, there's fucking Tom's plane going right to Alaska. Like,
There'll be pictures of him getting on the plane or something.
Yeah, that's why it's not a family
Black
vacation.
Ops situation.
Because there would have been photos already of them on vacation.
Maybe he's
if he
downrange.
was on vacation.
maybe he is downrange.
Giselle is from a very small village in Brazil, so maybe it is something with her side of the family, and they're down there, and it's definitely not, the most developed region of Brazil.
Yeah, but if he was to
Giselle
land in
fan page.
Brazil from where Giselle lives, like I think somebody would have.
Yeah, when he was in Italy, they weren't at a resort or anything. They were on their own yacht, and there were still photos.
People
of
track-
When does he come back?
Yeah.
What's that?
When do you think he comes back then?
Well, that's the thing. We were told the 20th, right? The
Yeah.
11th to the 20th. It was 9 days. That would be tomorrow.
Yeah, Monday.
But now the speculation is like, well, we don't know when he's going to be back. It's like, okay, so if it was pre-planned and you don't know when he's coming back, maybe they're on some fucking trip. Maybe they're on some ayahuasca trip or some
Maybe a cruise. Like a Disney cruise with the kids.
But again,
That has an end date.
yeah. And they would know.
Maybe they want to go to a couple of them.
If it was Masked Singer, there would definitely be photos of him in
Those
LA
Disney cruises
too.
aren't cheap either.
Yeah, him traveling I understand Disney cruises.
We haven't bit the bullet yet. They're too expensive right now, I feel like.
Okay, well, I appreciate you getting it out there. The Disney cruises seem to be a little bit
I
of
hear
a,
they're very, very nice, and they're set up very well for parents and the kids.
but it sounds like a little bit of a scam. You're saying haven't bit the bullet for how expensive it is. You guys go on 10 vacations every month, so Disney cruises maybe should listen to that. A family that does spend money,
Yeah.
a lot of it is looking at your cruise going, I heard it's great, but come on.
pricey.
So maybe Tom Brady isn't looking at it the same way you are with his kids, but if he was to buy a Disney cruise ticket, before he could even get whatever fake name he has in there, they'd be like, oh, this is for Tom Brady and Giselle coming on Disney cruise. It would just, that's what I think is so interesting. Like, they are Tom and Giselle, so somebody's going to find them.
Also, the stuff with Bowles, like, he knows about what it is, but then he's saying he's hopeful he'll be back for week 1. So, like, he knows what it is, but he has no idea how much time he's actually going to miss. Like, that doesn't really make sense either.
What has a beginning date but not an end date?
I like that Connor.
Life.
I like
Going
Connor's
downrange.
angle where he might be at a vuvuzela in Brazil, like just hanging out.
A Vuvuzela is the
Could be at a favela.
Also,
That's what I meant.
Vuvuzela is Vuvuzela as
You can see
Vuvuzela.
you can see the confusion though.
yeah, you really hope it isn't the case, but it would make sense
Injury.
to it. Well, if his mom is sick again or a
they said
family
it
member
wasn't.
is sick.
But they
like,
said it was planned.
They shouldn't lie to us if that's the case.
What if
Maybe
something
it's a planned
happened?
surgery.
surgeries also.
Something could have happened to keep him longer, too.
Treatment for something is also planned.
So medical is definitely coming into play here, right?
Yes, but I don't think it's his medical. because he wouldn't have come back if he had a surgery he had to get done.
We hope it's on his mind. We hope, obviously,
Of
it's
course.
nothing bad, but this is an interesting situation. Then.
All seriousness aside, it could be going back to
All seriousness aside?
yeah.
Okay, so we're going back to the aliens.
Yeah, sure.
Here we go.
Yeah, AJ brought it up, but like this could be the time of year or the time, like it could be an every 20-year thing where he does have to shed his skin and grow new skin, so he couldn't be at camp for that.
To Tony's point, too, there are a lot of theories on the internet that Giselle can tell through the stars what type of season Tom is going to have, a la his MVP seasons and his Super Bowl seasons, and maybe this is kind of part of that as well.
So they took a trip,
Yeah. Well,
go trip.
he doesn't have to. Just she does. She's very good at reading the stars and the signs.
So he's watching the house like I had to do.
Exactly.
When Sam went on Girls Trip. He's watching the house.
He's got to watch kids.
She's on
While Giselle is going to.
the summit of Mount Everest to
With Adele?
look as close
Think
as
he's doing
possible.
ayahuasca?
No, I don't think
Could
he's
be a
doing
whole
that.
different kind of trip. You know what I mean?
What dimension is he in?
Sixth,
What's that?
seventh
Like
dimension?
a swingers trip?
No.
Smooching bungholes.
Bunghole trip.
All right, let's get to.
Okay.